Have a new show. That new show is Sitting in the Hot Seat. And on the show, we're going to interview people. That's right. People are going to get on here. Brave souls are going to get on here and be interviewed by me in the hot seat. We're going to start with some really easy questions, and then it's going to get a little bit harder as we go. To the interview, welcome to the hot seat. So I have Chisa, who is the founder of Repurpose Living, a consulting agency looking to partner with individuals and businesses seeking to implement purposeful change. Thank you, Chisa, for coming today, being the first one on the show, first one sitting in the hot seat. So we're gonna start.
Oh, I'm the first one.
You're the first
I'm
one.
setting the tone.
You're the first. You're setting the tone. You're setting the bar. So we're gonna start off with some easy questions.
All
Okay.
right. All
So
right.
what tell me what a good boss looks like to you.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I'm super excited that I'm the first person in the hot seat. And I think that our role as a manager or supervisor or any other leadership opportunity is to be a job coach to the person that you hire. So our main job is to figure out what supports and strategies and tools do you need in order to be effective in your job. So it's a job of service.
Okay. That's how you define a good boss or a good
I
supervisor.
do. Yep, that you're a servant leader, and again, that you're always striving to figure out how to make sure that the person that you're supervising has the support and the tools and the strategies. And it's really not about me and my leadership. It's really about how do I use my leadership to help you be effective and really good at your job.
Okay. So can you tell me what makes a bad boss or a bad supervisor?
I think it's the person who seeks out attention for themselves, and it's really about their self promotion and them looking good and them really striving to have authority or the ability to elevate their own position at the consequence of other people.
So you said what a good boss is, you said what a bad boss is. Can you give me an example of who, without saying their name, who was a bad boss to you and without the name, and what made them a bad boss?
I had a manager who really didn't, I don't think she understood her role was, and she clearly didn't understand what my role was. And so her ability to be supportive was impacted. She also was not a very good listener. So she kind of had her own agenda. If I fit into the agenda, then I felt supported. But if I didn't, she wasn't able to pivot or to be thoughtful about what I needed. And I think the other thing is that it felt competitive, actually. It felt like she wanted to always outdo me or outshine me. So that really went against that whole code of being a servant leader or an effective job coach to me at that time. And I'm so glad I don't work for her anymore.
Okay, excellent. So tell me, you gave your definition of a good boss. Can you describe what if you've had a good boss and what made them a good boss to you?
You know, I have been really fortunate to have some very strong I'm going to say leaders or coaches because for some reason that boss word sounds like you're managing people. And I think I'm looking for a person who is a leader, who motivates me to be my best, who is able to be empathetic when I don't understand and to give me tools. I have always been really encouraged by people who are strong in their conviction and who they've always had a presence in the community. So it's always been about, again, service, connection, communication. They also invested in me. So I was often encouraged to try for the things that I thought I couldn't do or to be aspirational. And I think that's how I got through grad school, actually. Just like a quick story. So I was a late bloomer and going to school, went through community college. And while I was in community college, the manager or the leader that I had at that time actually ran a teacher, they recruited teachers of color to be in that program. And so I was so inspired by her. She impacted my going into social work. So I think that's what makes a good leader or a good job coach who happens to have a title of being manager.
Okay. Now, a lot of times when working, we have to work with a team or with our coworkers. A good coworker, a good team can make work not always feel like work. It can make it
Yeah.
be fun. Um, on the flip side, a bad coworker or bad team player can make work miserable. Can you tell me what your definition or how you would describe what a good team player looks like or a good coworker looks like?
Definitely. I think that they are collaborative. I think there's energy between the two of you, so you have the ability to communicate. I think you have the ability you get to a place where you step in and you partner with or for the other person. I think it's really like a relationship, and when folks are thinking about the other and not just themselves, it really turns into collaboration or the need to, like, how can I show up and support you? So you and I feel like you're my coworker. I feel like we're in the same field. You manage, you lead, you teach, you coach, and you share those gifts with me. And so I feel like we are co-workers in a process, and trying to, one, independently grow our businesses, and then two, really think about how we are supporting people to find employment at the same time.
Right. Okay. So what define a bad coworker or bad team player?
Well, unfortunately, I have been one of those.
You've been one yourself?
I think I've been one. And it's funny. Normally you don't tell on yourself, but I think one of the things about me is that I think I've been one. So I think I've been self-centered. I think I've been focused on my own promotion sometimes. I think that I have not been an effective listener. So I'm so focused on my viewpoint and how things should go that I don't create space for other people to share and collaborate. I think I have not always been timely. So someone expects a deadline or they expect me to show up at a certain time. And I think I have failed sometimes at doing that. And I also think that my own sense of not having enough confidence has not been helpful in collaborative situations, because I can't, like my ability to self-initiate or to move forward or be hopeful, I'm really can be kind of a negative Nelly. So I think I've been a bad person sometimes, or a bad coworker.
Okay. And how long ago would you say you have been a bad coworker? Like, since you're admitting that you was one, how long ago would you say?
You know what? I think I still live through that. That's the grace of being a human. So the real answer is, I think that I probably have done it even in the last couple of weeks. But I think it's I think it's the piece around, I think the part that makes me a good coworker is extending grace to myself and having compassion. Like we have those moments where we do those things, but I think it's the accountability that brings us back, and like saying to somebody like, hey, I didn't show up for you. I didn't show up for us, and not making it be about other people, but really like being clear about who you are and kind of show up in your authentic self, right? Don't try to be impressive. Don't try to dodge it, but just to show up and say, hey, I don't think I did that right. Can we keep moving forward? So I hate to tell you that I think I've practiced that inappropriate behavior in the last couple of weeks, but I think I have.
Okay. Well, you know what? I like transparency. So, and I like honesty in an interview. So outside of yourself, do you know anybody else who might have been a bad team player to you? That and can you describe what that was?
I think they took credit for work that I did. Okay. I think that I've had people step in front of me when an opportunity was presented specifically for me, and then people said, hey, I can do that, as if I couldn't do that. So that was very dishonoring. I've had people not hold up their end in a project. So they say they're going to do something and they don't, and then you have to try to figure it out on your own. So that's a sense of feeling not supported or lack of collaboration. And I would say that I've experienced that too in the last, all the way up until the last couple of weeks. So I've been on both sides of not being my best and also navigating other people not being their best as a coworker.
Okay. Have you heard the term manage up? Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah.
Have you ever done that to someone?
Huh?
Have you ever managed up? And for people who don't know what it means, you know what it means. For people who don't know what it means that you're kind of managing your supervisor. You're helping them help you. Have you ever done that in your life, your years of working?
I have, and I really think that's part of the collaboration. Like, they don't always know how to serve because remember I talked about being a servant leader or how to job coach me. So I think that as part of your communication is that you need to one, verbally inform them what you need, and then two, by action and behavior. I think you're managing up or you're coaching up because you're modeling for people how you want to be treated. You're setting your intentions with them. You're reflecting back to them when they are not supporting you or serving you in a way that moves you forward in your position or that is allowing you to be successful. So I think you should always be thinking about how you're going to manage up. And because I think it influences your leadership opportunities. It influences your influence in the organization. I think when they're talking about performance reviews and how do you navigate through teams and leadership, those are some traits that they're going to be looking for. How are you influencing the people around in your whole circle?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Repurposed Living is hiring. What would be the ideal candidate?
That's a great question. Repurposed Living is all about helping people to tell their story. We've lived lives and we've done things, and sometimes we get to a point where we're like, what's my next? What am I going to do next? And how do you use your past experience and your losses, the joys, the challenges? How do you kind of put all that together in a narrative that says, here is who I am and how I'm positioned to move forward? So I would be looking for a candidate who could see possibility in difficulty. I would need someone who had the ability to be empathetic. I would need somebody who has the ability to be consistent in their tone and tenor. I would need somebody who could be able to sit with people who are in a challenging time and like validate what the person is saying. So I think that would be my starting point. And that's actually a really good question. For some, I think it's important that I think about expansion at some point. So I'm glad you asked me that question.
Yeah, absolutely. And what kind of boss, you don't like that word, or supervisor are you?
Oh.
Or coach?
Oh. Oh. I think I have.
From your perspective.
I know. I think that when I was less confident, I think I was more controlling. I think because I wasn't really clear about my mission, and I wasn't really clear about my strategy, and I wasn't really clear about who I was as a professional. I think that I needed to have more control, and I tried to control people. I think where I am now professionally, so we're not talking about my home life, but where I am professionally, is I think I'm a coach, and I like to stir up questions and have people be curious, and how do I get other people to kind of move forward on what they're thinking. So less me and more them. Yeah. I did think about that.
Okay. So how did the hot seat feel? It wasn't so bad, was it?
No, it wasn't. I think there were really good questions, and I really, it's so important to be in community with people who you partner with to work and those you work for. And I think your questions are engaging to make you think about, like, if we're really answering them right, like, where do I sit in that? Not what do I imagine for other people, but then how am I showing up? How do I model for other people how to be on a team or how to lead teams? Or even what do you do when you make an oops? Like, how do you rebound from making an oops if you see yourself in that place where you're not performing at your best? So you asked excellent questions. I trust you too, so it was easy for me to have the conversation. And lastly, I've learned that I don't have to always be right, but I need to show up. So,
right. I created this hot seat so people can see interviewing is not so bad. It's scary, but you know all the answers because it's about you. And you did a really good job because you did not know what I was going to ask.
I didn't.
So you did a really, really good job. I'm glad you weren't scared. So can you tell everybody what you do, how to get in contact with you, your information, so we can make sure we have that?
Certainly. So on Instagram, I am Repurposed Living. If you want to check out my website, it is www.re-purposedliving.com. I'm also on Facebook as well as Repurposed Living. And really, the type of folks that I am partnering with are people who are really just curious about their next level. Like, I own a business and I want to grow my business. I don't have a business. I'd like to start a business. Some folks have are they're empty nesters, and so now they're trying to redefine what life looks like and set some new goals for themselves. And some people are just like, I just need to have a conversation with somebody who hears and validates and helps me to kind of organize what's going on in my life. So we do a variety of different things. If you check out my page, it's very eclectic. There's stuff about me, there's stuff that I repurpose, and there's stuff about relationships. So I welcome new conversations.
Follow Chisa at Repurpose Living on Instagram and Facebook. Check out her website. Thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you for being my first person in the hot seat. You did good. I'll hire you. You're hired, Chisa.
Perfect. That's what I want to hear at the end.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
I'll see you next time. Bye.